Well, the war in Syria is
gearing up to some sort of a new phase.
this phase.
A new phase
is really getting more and more complicated.
Turkey's invasion.
That the Assad regime used chemical weapons.
Kurds are carving out their own statelet called Rojava.
That is Rojava, a region in northern Syria that runs along the border of Turkey. It's home of over 1 million Kurds, one of the largest ethnic groups in the Middle East. Until a few years ago, this was a forgotten corner of Syria, where the Kurds were denied legal status by the Syrian government. But today, Rojava is a self-governed region with a powerful militia that leads the fight against ISIS. And it's where the Middle East's youngest democracy is taking shape. Surrounded by Assad's totalitarian regime, the militant Islamic State, and a hostile neighbor Turkey, that is an unlikely place for a democratic revolution. But it was actually the Syrian war that made Rojava a possibility in the first place. In 2011, protests against dictator Bashar al-Assad erupted in Syria. The uprising turned into open rebellions after he sent his army to crack down on the opposition. By July 2012, Assad pulled most of his army out of the traditional Kurdish territories in northern Syria to defend these major cities in the west. The move created a void, but not for long. An existing Kurdish political party called the Democratic Union Party stepped up to defend and govern the region they called Rojava. They organized it into these 3 small self-governed states and they set up democratic system of local governments. They also promoted gender equality across all public institutions, including the military, and all-women military group called the YPG took shape and fight alongside the Kurdish militia called the YPG. But just as Rojava started taking shape, it came under attack.
The jihadist militia known as ISIS.
Terrorist group ISIS gaining ground
in Syria and Iraq right now.
In 2014, the Islamic State swept through Syria. In Rojava, they drove all the way to Kobane and laid siege to the city. As ISIS threatened to take the city, small pockets of Kurdish fighters held their ground until reinforcement arrived. The US provided air support for the Kurds, and together they retook Kobane, marking a major moment for Rojava. Kurdish fighters proved to be one of the most effective forces in Syria, leading to continued US air support and eventually weapons.
The Kurds are the most effective fighting force against the Islamic State.
Kurdish fighters in Syria have made significant gains,
killing thousands of fighters and clawing back territory.
A Kurdish-led force launched an offensive today in Syria,
pushing ISIS further and further back
out of their territory in the northeastern city of Hasaka.
They are now within sight of the ISIS stronghold of Raqqa.
As Kurdish fighters started liberating the cities, they incorporated the population into Rojava, with the addition of multi-ethnic population. Rojava was renamed to Democratic Federation of Northern Syria, and Kurdish fighters merged with non-Kurdish militias to form the Syrian Democratic Forces.